Toni Morrison is one of America's most honored authors, the winner of the National Book Critics Circle Award, the Pulitzer Prize, and she's also America's only living Nobel laureate for literature.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Audio Jungle.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press corps. I am here to give this week's update on the upcoming April 1st Nobel ceremony at Achievement First Endeavor Middle School. This morning, I'd actually like to start off by announcing the winners of last week's math grade competition. As you all know, two grades go head-to-head every week in math for most growth. Last week, we had 5th versus 7th and 6th versus 8th. And I'm here to announce the winners of those competitions last week. The winner of the first competition was 7th grade. And the winner of the second competition was 8th grade. The competition for this week will be 5th versus 6th, and then 7th versus 8th. At this time, I would like to show the list of our individual scholar nominees for this past week. Okay, I can now take, I am not going to have time for everyone. I can now take a few questions at this time.
Tom.
Callie, The Washington Post. I know the 7th and 8th grade both won the math grade to grade competitions this week. There's talk that the competition might be unfairly biased toward the upper school. Does lower school even have a fighting chance at the Nobel?
Well, lower school absolutely has a fighting chance in the Nobel, and in fact, there will be a lower school winner this week because it is 5th versus 6th grade. Next question.
Tom.
Yes.
Diamond, Coney Island Daily. Shamaya, this school is in 7th grade Northeastern. This young woman has now received nominations 2 consecutive weeks in a row in math. What is her story and what has been her motivation?
What is her story? I mean, she's obviously been working incredibly hard. If you want to know her motivation, you all have access to the purpose boards. I encourage you to go up. Go to the 5th floor, see her purpose statement, but in terms of what her story and motivation, like every other kid at this school, she is working incredibly hard for the brightest possible future. Next question.
Tom.
The word is that Alan McDowell in 5th grade is now being called the king of annotations. Do you have comments on that? Is he given the strongest annotations in 5th grade?
Well, in terms of Alan McDowell being called the king of annotations, that is not... that's not an official designation. I think that's a reputation that he has earned among his peers and his teachers. But other than that, I have no comment. I have no comment on that at this time. Next question.
Tom.
We're seeing that Akilah Leslie planned her short response, but I thought students only needed to plan their essays. Can you confirm?
I can confirm that they only need to plan their essays. She took it upon herself to plan the short response, and I think the results of that showed last week. Next question.
Tom.
Hi, Tiffany from BBC News. What can we expect from Lauren Smith moving forward? We are seeing a lot of literal thinking from her. Do you expect that she's going to remember to include her reference in that short response?
Well, only Lauren can answer that question, and I think she will answer that question through her pencil, not through her words. Certainly not through my words, so stay tuned for this week. Next question, please.
Jill with AM New York. Is it true that David Dawson actually annotated every question?
Well, you guys see all the work. We release it every week, so I think you know the answer to that question. Absolutely, he annotated every question. Next question.
Tom. Lindsay, News 12. Judea Williams. Isn't she new? How did she get the nomination for Best Annotation?
She is relatively new to this school, but this is not a competition about how long you've been at this school. This is not a competition about any other thing than how hard you're willing to work every single week. She showed that last week. She received the nomination. She deserved that nomination. No other comment at this time. Next question. I can take a couple more.
Tom. Crystal, Daily News. Ashanti Mays. This girl somehow managed to annotate every paragraph. How is another scholar going to challenge her for that nomination each week if she's getting to every paragraph?
Well, look, she is going to be tough to beat if she continues to do what she did last week. But the reality is, this is not just about the quantity of annotations, it's also about quality. Indy Lowe, for example, annotated every single genre of each article last week, so it is still anybody's game. I can take one more question, and that's going to be it for today. One more question.
Tom. Tiara, TMZ. Evelyn Hill increased her mini mock performance by 60%. I'm wondering, in all honesty, I think a lot of us are wondering how that's possible.
How is that possible? I'm not sure I understand the question. She worked incredibly hard, and she grew by 60%.
Is there an investigation pending?
No, there's not an investigation pending. But look, in terms of what Evelyn was able to do on last week's quiz, her work speaks for itself. If you want to know how she did it, take a look at the work. Take a look at the annotations. Take a look at the thinking that she put on the page. And that will certainly be the last question I take today. Thank you for coming out today. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Would you swim in a pool filled with purified sewage water that would otherwise go into Newtown Creek? A Brooklyn architect has created a unique plan that would do just that. Our Allie Wolf is in Williamsburg to explain how it works and how it could help the environment.
I'm standing above the notoriously contaminated creek. Now, I spoke to the architect. He says he's not trying to get Brooklynites to swim in toxic water, but instead to create a pool that would prevent the creek from getting even more contaminated than it already is. This is a rendering of Raoul Shaw's exercise pool. He says the design